This episode of Take Up a Quiet podcast, I'm going to look at some of the challenges in training church tech teams. Now, as someone who has been on both sides, both as a volunteer and as one time a leader in my own local church tech team, I find it very helpful to share some of the challenges that has to come with training church tech teams, and I hope this can be helpful for church leaders, ministry leaders, and anyone in the media or tech department in their own local church. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Take It for Quiet podcast, the podcast where faith meets innovation. My name is Alexander, and I'll be your host on this podcast. Now, today we're tackling a topic that is very important to many of us, and that's the topic about church tech teams. Now, tech teams and the volunteers in these teams are the backbone of a smooth and engaging worship experience. But let's be honest, building and leading these teams can have its challenges. So I've encountered my fair share of all those, and I've been on the two sides of the spectrum, both as a volunteer and as a team leader, and I'm pretty confident to share one or two personal experiences in this area. And trust me when I say it can feel a bit overwhelming at times. But before we dive deeper, let's talk about why these tech teams or media department in your local church or in your ministry are very crucial. So I want you to imagine walking into a worship service and it is really with technical glitches. You are just like, what's happening? And I'm sure that will not be an inspiring experience, and that won't give a good first impression to someone who just coming to your church for the first time or visiting your ministry for the first time. So a strong tech team ensures everything runs seamlessly, from crispy audio to stunning visuals. They are like the silent heroes behind the scenes, making sure the focus stays on the message. And it's not just about avoiding technical mishaps. It's not just about, oh, let's ensure that the service runs so smoothly that nothing's happening. It's not just about that. But you need to think about that powerful sermon you heard, a while back, and maybe it was an impactful video that resonated with you, or the dramatic lightning that set the mood. So that's the magic of a skilled tech team. So everything, the ambience, the environment, maybe you visited a church for a particular concert and you like the way the whole environment is, the way they did the lights, the way they did the stage, the way the audio and everything is sounding. So all of this is the product of a very, very skilled and strong tech team or media team. So they are using technology to enhance the worship experience and leave a lasting impact. So with that foundation laid, let's get personal. And today I want to share my own experiences with church media and tech teams. So I'm going to share my experiences as I talk about each of these challenges. I'm going to share my own experiences with each of these challenges. Before I dive into that, we're going to talk about some of the real challenges churches face when it comes to training these vital teams. Building a strong and very competent tech team can be very, very daunting, and it almost looks impossible. And apart from that, there are also some roadblocks you are going to encounter, both as a leader or as a volunteer or just someone who is in a place of authority in the church or in the ministry. And one of them is the issue of limited resources. So many churches, big or small, operate on tight budgets and limited staff. So carving out funds and personnel for training programs can feel like a juggling act. So these limited resources is one of the biggest problems that most trust tech teams, media departments face. And it's not just in the area of training, it also affects it generally. Let me just share my own personal experience with that. Sometimes you will want to do certain things, like you want to take certain things to the next level. Maybe you want to, let's say, start live streaming, for example, and you are limited by how much either the church is willing to drop or how much you can get based on what you have. So resources might not necessarily be 100% all about money, but it can just be what you have at hand. So if all you have at hand is a smartphone, then this can serve as a limitation to you to want to do something big and better as opposed to a traditional DSLR camera. When it comes to limited resources, I've had my own fair share of that, both as a leader and as a member in a team. Like, for example, sometimes you want to do certain things and there is no internet. You want to just go above and beyond, and there's so little to how and what you can do. And this is a very big challenge, and this is something that can make or mar the tech team. And if we are not careful, it can cause a lot of people to withdraw. But a lot of these things just boils down to you just understanding what and what is very, very important, creating a scale of preference and pushing out funds to necessary areas based on priority. For me, I feel like, okay, if you don't have money for, let's say, to get an expensive camera, you can start with one that is okay. And I still keep on saying this based on this context of what I'm trying to say. Okay might not necessarily mean the best, but okay might just be this works for us. You can just get an HD camera, then that's good for you, provided it is within your budget. And the next one is volunteer availability. And this one is just since church tech teams rely heavily on volunteers who juggle busy lives outside of church. Again, you have people who are students, you have people who are married, you have people who are working or maybe working 9 to 5, and you have some who their work might take them outside of the area for a very long time. So because of that, it can be very, very tasking and very, very daunting. And the worst part of it is scheduling training sessions that if everyone's availability can be a puzzle, especially for students or working professionals. When I was in my former church and I was still in the media department, one of the issues that we had was we really don't have enough time for training. You don't necessarily have to organize a day or organize a training program in quote for your tech team, because the more you keep on hanging on to the notion of you need a day, you need something to train them on, this can just be as simple as after church service you take them to the sound booth and tell the sound engineer there to just run them through one or two things. Oh, this is how you run the mixer, this is how we mix, this is how we send sound to the console, this is how we do one or two things. They learn, give them assignments to do, you give them opportunity for them to reinforce what they've learned, and if they are interested in it, they now pursue it on their own. And apart from that, another one I'll actually recommend is that if you find out that people are not that available like that, you can organize online trainings, you can get courses, you can get like a Google document or a Google sheet that you can just put in links and then ensure that you follow up that are you actually watching this video, you're actually using these resources. So a lot of these things, why I'm saying this is because some of the times people might not be available. Even those who you think should even be available might not be available. And if you make that as a plug, you won't get things done. Like for example, the last time we had training was like 2 years ago. Not even a training, it was a retreat. And for a while we were talking about, okay, let us do training, let us do retreat. And we'll be like, okay, let us do during the holidays. And then the holidays will come, and then there will be another excuse. And then even recently, this month, we were supposed to have like a training during the Easter program, and nothing was. I was just thinking that why are we just waiting for a perfect time? Not only are we just waiting for a perfect time, we are just waiting for things to align, waiting for okay one person to come and teach us. A lot of these things can be done in a conventional way, and the more you now see that people are ready to learn, people are receptive to learning, and the more eager you see, then you can now organize a day, you can organize a week, you can organize, a training program proper. Even the training program is actually very, very taxing. It has to do with a lot of preparation. A lot of things has to come. It's not just something you just think of and then just do it. It's something that you actually have to plan and prepare and do a lot of things for. So the next one is varying skills level, and tech teams often have a mix of tech-savvy individuals and those who are less comfortable with complex systems. So on one hand, you have people who are tech-savvy, who knows what they are doing, and most of the time, most of them are professionals. And then we have people who are volunteers who don't even know one or two things, who are novice, and it can really create this imbalance. You can solve a lot of this thing by creating training materials that cater to all of these skills effectively. It can be a little bit tricky because again, you don't know the level of people's competence with certain things. One of the ways you can work around something like this is by identifying people's core areas. So someone who is interested in, let's say, sound, you want to dedicate more training materials or more training sessions to that than someone who is not. Basically, everybody can't be a designer, everybody can't be running sound, everybody can't be running video, everybody can't be running the same thing. But those people who are interested in that area, people who their strengths and everything lies in that area, and they put them in that area, give them proper training. But then you cannot look for one thing that can connect everybody together, and then you will now have a training based on that. So if someone has been in a particular department for 6 months, you haven't trained another person, you haven't trained a new person, and then you can now give like a finished touches or find an expert to just give a finishing touches to ensure that whatever training that maybe 2 of them have is in line with current training. And the next one is finding qualified trainers. So many churches lack staff with the expertise to train volunteers on complex systems. Sometimes budget constraints prevent hiring external trainers. But if I were to talk about this, I feel like a lot of times churches just overlook even within them the expert. Sometimes some people might be good at certain things and they might not actually be part of the department. Sometimes if you are not careful, you will just look at somebody who just comes to church, sitting down and look at him that what can he offer. I think most of the time we tend to look at it based on if those people are not in the media department, then they don't really have much to offer. So that's just the thing. So for me, I just feel like this thing is not really an issue. Identify people in the church who can actually help, who can train. They might not necessarily be in the media department or in your tech team, or they might not necessarily volunteer. They might actually be in another, maybe in the ushering or any other department. Just identify them, approach them, come up with a structure, come up with a plan, work with them, and then let them train your team. That's just it. So the next one is competition priorities. So keeping volunteers engaged requires training that feels relevant to their ministry role. So balancing that with technical skills can be a challenge, especially in a very small church where everybody has to do a lot of things. Like for example, someone who's in the media department actually be in the prayer team, actually be in the teams, actually be in the youth. A lot of times the mind actually be this pull and push. You even yourself, you must know the priorities of the department itself. Then from that, it can help you understand other people's priorities. The next one and the last one is shifting needs. This one is all about technology. So since technology is constantly evolving, training materials and volunteer skill sets need to adapt to keep pace. And now that we have AI, we have a lot of these things coming up. How best can we use this tool to serve our own purpose within the ministry, within the department, within this team? How best can we work with our cameras to ensure that we can shoot content? How best can we work with video editing software? Why I'm really stressing on all of these things is that there are technologies that have been created to make things a little bit easier. And if you can put your team in a position whereby they leverage this technology, it's going to make work a little bit easier and better and faster for you. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Take It for Guide podcast. I hope you found this episode really helpful and impactful. For more in-depth discussions, stay tuned to the next episode of the Take It for Guide podcast. And before you leave, don't forget to subscribe, share, leave a review if you found today's episode valuable. The support keeps me going and motivates me to do more. And don't forget to connect with me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Take It for Christ. Don't also forget to check out my new YouTube channel for this podcast on YouTube. And also, if you're a podcaster and you're looking to collaborate or just share insights and ask questions related to technology and the Christian faith, also feel free to reach out to me. You can also share your stories and testimonies with me via my Instagram and Twitter handles, again at Take It for Christ. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, keep innovating, stay faithful, blessed, tech savvy, and may your tech infused journey bring abundant blessings to your church and community. This is Alexander once again, signing off on the Take It for Christ podcast.